Welcome to Angel Talk. I'm Peg Jones, and this is Lisa Mastrocola, my co-host. We're angel intuitives, teachers, healers, and authors. Tonight we're going to speak about the ways that we connect with our angels using our senses. Such concepts as clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, claircognizance, clairgustance, and clairolfactory or clairalience. And Lisa's going to speak to us about clairsentience first.
Clairsentience is the feeling that you have. That one is the most common. You know, when you're meeting someone for the first time and you meet them and you go, oh, I don't know about this. Or you'll meet them and you feel like you'll connect like you've known them forever. That's feeling. That's the angel's guidance. And also, you know how sometimes you'll be going about your business and you'll get this feeling like to call a friend. You know, you get this feeling, no, I think I need to connect with this friend. And you do so. That's your guidance. That's your clairsentience working. And also, you know how sometimes, as I've mentioned, I have 3 teenagers, and sometimes they'll be going out, and you just get this feeling like, you know what, just kind of give them a little warning. Be careful driving tonight, or, you know, who are you going out with? Keep in contact, you know, and that's the same thing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's just, you know, the angels will give you like a warning. Sometimes they have to give you a warning, but you know it's of the angels because not only are they warning you like you're about to, you know, something is going to happen, but the important message is like, but we're there. We've got this. We have you.
Also, it can be a feeling within your body, like, you know, the saying butterflies in your stomach, like before you are speaking or, you know, taking a test. And it's also, you may feel like a brush on your arm or on your face, and that could be an angel letting you know that they're with you, but it could also be a loved one too. A good way to make it a consistent way of knowing that it's the angels is to just ask them to like touch the side of your face, and even like set a time for like meditation and asking them, and they will listen to you and they will help you.
And sometimes when you're talking with someone and you'll get like goosebumps. You know, when someone's saying something and you really feel like yes, that really resonates with me. You get goosebumps. Mm-hmm. You know, you'll say I get goosebumps, and that's like a confirmation. Mm-hmm. Like yes, what they're saying is true, and what the guidance that you're getting is true.
Right. Also, there's like chills, like you might feel chills going down your back, or the room temperature can change suddenly.
Right. I have to say, one of my favorite stories that has to do with the feelings, the clairsentience, as I don't know, many years ago, I was probably in my 20s, and I was in a sound sleep, and the angels came to me, and they were trying to warn me of something, and I could see they were really trying to warn me of something that was happening, but I couldn't really make out what they were trying to say. But when I woke up in the morning, I clearly knew, okay, mm-hmm. something's coming my way. Mm-hmm. But I also knew, like, you have to go through this, but we have your back. So I felt as though I kind of went through the motions of my day, you know, cautiously, mm-hmm. knowing something may come, but knowing that I would be fine. Well, about a week or so later, I was about a block from my house. I was in a very bad car accident by myself. It was very scary. I was in the ambulance by myself, and something that could have been an unbelievably traumatic experience kind of wasn't, because I'm like, okay, this must be what they were warning me about. So I kind of knew.
And you kind of felt the peace.
I totally did. I felt like they never left my side. I felt like even though I was alone, I really wasn't alone. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, you know, they're there. That's how you know it's of the angels. Like when they warn you, it's like you still have that warm and fuzzy, just mm-hmm. like when you get those the butterflies or the little chills.
Right. Yep.
You're like, it's like an excited, like a warm fuzzy excitement, mm-hmm. you know, mm-hmm. never a bone chilling, you know, curdling, oh my God.
Well, sometimes, I mean, you know, it wouldn't be bone chilling, but sometimes, like if there's something you hear or you see or you're experiencing and you're getting a headache, you know, that could be a sign to maybe, you know, kind of be aware, or, you know, to just maybe even walk away too. It could be a sign.
Right,
you
like
know.
sometimes you're supposed to be going somewhere. How many times do we hear this when there's an accident? You know, maybe somebody was supposed to get on a plane and at the last minute they didn't for whatever reason.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
and so yeah, we get those feelings all
Yep.
the time, you know,
Yep.
so we're being guided all the time. But I guess the main thing is, you know, it's of the angels when it's like, you know, it feels it's coming from a loving place.
Right,
And you know
right,
it's
yeah.
not if you're, you know, if they're telling you to do
Yeah.
something to hurt yourself or hurt other people, or,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know, you
if-
feel alone, then that's not of the angels.
And, or if you feel very cold and clammy, that's
Yes.
another thing. And are you just feeling really panicky too?
Right.
You know, but
In feeling alone. So if you feel panicky and you feel like you're all alone, you're deserted, you're isolated, then that's not of the
Right.
angels. But the good news is when you're feeling that way, you can call on them right away
Right,
and say,
right.
angels, please come and help me with
Yes.
this. And they're right there.
they are.
So.
They are. And the next clear is clear cognizance, and that is clear knowing. It's it could be like a knowing and an understanding of something that maybe you had never known about. You might be speaking of something that you had never spoken about. It could also be an idea that you may have. And you really don't know a whole lot about it, but you have a positive feeling about it. That is a sign that it could be divinely, you know, inspired from your angels. I know that Archangel Gabriel is, you know, an angel that does that a lot. He'll help us with ideas. That's how I wrote my book, you know, and I really didn't know how I was going to do it at first.
Also, this is the Claire that your inventors and
Right.
your great thinkers, like for instance, when they show the book Da Vinci's Notebook and all the drawings and all the ideas that he had, like of course you know he was way before his time, and so that was his divine. He was
Right.
getting divine guidance, and it was through that Claire.
And even the musicians, you know,
Yes.
back, you know, the classical musicians, you know, the beautiful sounds that they made and everything.
Right. So you know it's of the angels if you get repetitive, if they're almost like not, you know, like giving you that little nudge, like a gentle little nudge, like you should be writing that book, or you should be writing the lyrics to that song, or, you know, or even a letter to a family member. I don't know, do people still write letters today, or an email, you know? You're getting, that's your divine guidance.
Right.
through
And
your
also,
thoughts.
you know, it's taking that first step, you know, and beginning the process. And the angels will definitely kind of lead you on the way, but it's taking that unknown, you know, and because you're not quite sure. It's like, well, this is something very different for me.
Right,
You know?
and it's trust, and that's where
It's
trust
trust,
comes in.
right.
When if they take you there, they'll lead you. If they're leading you there, they'll take you to it. They'll take you through it. You know, and so you have to trust, believe, and just go with what you're guided, whatever they're telling you. You know,
Right.
go with that.
Right, right. And
So the next one is one that's very, very, you know, they say most people have one they're stronger in. I have to say I have two. And this one is probably my top one, with the second one very close second. But this is the clairaudience. This is hearing a voice. And we're not talking about, you know, I hear voices like, you know, I'm crazy. This is like you hear a voice that tells you things. For
Right.
instance, you know, like a lot of people, like I know with me, I hear a voice in my head, and a lot of times that tells me things, a lot of like that are going to happen. A lot of times it's in the shower, so I refer to it as my voice. My voice tells me this, and my voice tells me that, and I get a lot of messages that way. And sometimes the crazier the thought is, boy, does it happen like right away. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'll say out loud, "That's crazy," and it happens, you know.
the way that I connect through clairaudience is in auto writing, automatic writing, and channeling messages from the angels. Sometimes it's a specific angel, sometimes it's a group of angels. Another way is sometimes I may be falling off to sleep and I may hear my name called loudly, and I know that no one is around, you know, and
And sometimes it's through, right, like you think you hear a voice in the distance, but sometimes it's you'll overhear a conversation that you're meant to hear to get
Right.
messages. Sometimes it's on the radio. You'll be listening to the radio, a song that you've heard 100 times, but that particular day,
right.
you know, it has a message.
And that's
from-
kind of where synchronicity comes in, you
Yeah.
know, where you hear, you know, it's exactly what you needed to hear, you know, and it's pretty much divinely, you know, inspired, you know, because how else could that happen, really?
Right. Now, for me, the clairaudience is, I know a lot of people who have passed on, like close people, and not even sometimes just people that have passed on that are close people to friends, you know, come to me. For instance, my sister passed away a year ago, and you know, as she was, you know, right before she passed away, she was, you know, they were kind of getting her settled, and we were in another room, and she said, you know, we were sitting there, and she said, call, you know, your cousin. And so I said to my mother, we have to call, you know, Dominic. Okay. Now, right now, okay, I'll do it. And I grabbed my phone, and, you know, and then when she was ready to pass, we had a room full of people, and she said, okay, you know, I'm ready to go. So I had to have everybody, you know, to have the nurse, you know, have everybody leave. And then she said, as she was passing, as she was crossing, she said, I'm out of here, like so happy to go. And then, you know, when we were making her arrangements, we were picking out her clothes. She picked out her own clothes. She picked out, you know, all the things that she wanted on her graveside marker. You know, I said, oh, let's put a pretty angel. And she's like, no, I want Sacred Heart of Jesus, and this is the quote. And so really, that's the clairaudience for me. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I get people that.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be clairaudience from a loved one too. Another way is it could be a way of warning, like you're driving, and you hear, you hear, slow down, you know, or and you do, and you might see, you know, a accident up ahead. It could be a fire truck, you know, stopping or something, and you know that's a sign too.
Right, and there again, when you get that warning, you don't feel scared. It's more or less like they've got you. You know what I mean? They've got your back. They're
Right,
trying to
right.
keep you safe
Yep.
with the warning.
Yep, yep.
So-
And that just happened to me recently. I was driving in snow on Saturday, and someone right ahead of me decided to make a U-turn, and I could not stop. But they got out of the way in time, and I really felt like I was being assisted by the angels. And it also reminded me to slow down and to take my sweet time, you know, and all was
Yes.
fine.
Yes. Now, the next one is probably my second strongest one, and that's clairvoyance. And clairvoyance is seeing things. A lot of people explain it as though they see, like, they have like a moving picture, like a movie playing in their head. And then some people, it's like a still picture. They see vivid pictures of things. What about you? How does
Well,
that
it's-
work for you?
The third eye is activated where you're when you're using your clairvoyance, because you're seeing images, you're seeing visualizations. I know as a child I always could visualize things, you know, and when I started doing meditations and, you know, speaking them and helping people along with them, they're like, I can't follow this, I don't see what you're talking about. And I couldn't understand that, or I didn't understand why someone could not visualize. So that's a really good example of how we have a better develop in one's clair than another. but it's something that I've always had.
With
you know.
me too. And sometimes with me, I think they're in the form of premonitions. Two things. One thing is like in the form of a premonition. Sometimes I have, I'll have like dreams where I'll have a vision of something. I'll wake up knowing that this is going to happen, but I don't really know where or when,
Right.
that type of thing. And I do get, and even sometimes you're awake. So you can be asleep, you can be awake, you get these visions of things. And sometimes people see flashes of light. Sometimes they'll see things in the peripheral. Like they may see a flash of light or a flash of color, and that's the angels, because angels are energy. So a lot of times people will see a flash of color, and that's probably one of the archangels or one of the angels. They see flashes of
I know
light.
one time I was on my computer and I saw like a gold orb, and right before that, suddenly a music box on a shelf above where I was sitting went off. So, the angels or someone was definitely trying to make their presence known.
And now you know it's of the angels.
Yes.
If you see pictures of, you see yourself helping other people, like you're of service to someone else. Now you know it's not of the angels. If the things that you're seeing are like out of a desperate desperation, or it's like a get quick rich scheme, and it's all about you. Because really, at the end of the day, that the messages of the angels, if they're loving, positive, that they want you to help yourself,
Right.
help family, friends, and the planet. Then you always know it's of the angels, and always makes you feel warm and safe. And you know what? Everybody gets that gut. Everybody gets that feeling.
Right.
You know it's right. It's of
Right.
the angels. If you get that little inkling, like I'm not sure about this, then chances are they're telling you that's not us.
Definitely. And the last two senses that I talk about are clairgustance, which is clear tasting, and it could be both a positive and a negative situation. Like a positive situation could be like a memory of grandma's apple pie, or it could be like a taste of flowers or something, or peppermint, or lavender, and it kind of I think it's individual.
I think sometimes if it's a loved one that's trying to get
Yeah.
your attention, maybe Aunt Flo made the best, pizza with anchovies, and you're going to taste that flavor of anchovy
Right.
pizza, and they make it that specific, so you know.
Yes. Oh,
it's
yeah.
her and nobody else.
And also, if you also might be talking with someone, and you might suddenly have a taste of something, and you just might mention it to the person, and they might say, "Oh, yeah, that's something that I can understand."
And sometimes if you get an odd taste, like a metal taste or something, there again, maybe they're just wanting you to just stop.
To be
Basically, it's
careful.
everybody, whether it's the angels or or loved ones that have passed on, it's
angels,
getting your
yeah.
attention.
Right,
You
right,
know, so
yeah.
sometimes, like you said, if it's something that's not too tasteful, they want you to just kind of stop and say, what's going on here,
Exactly. So, it could be someone that has said something that you do not agree with, and that taste could, it could be a taste of soap or something.
And the last one is?
The last one is clear olfactory, which is clear smelling. It's also called clear alience. Doreen Virtue speaks about it as clear alience. And that is a lot like clairgustance. It could be the smell of grandma's apple pie reminding you of that. I remember one time I was driving into Salem, and I was I had stopped because traffic was really busy that night, and I could smell cigars up ahead of me, and that reminded me of my grandfather. And then I realized what the date was, and that was the date of his birthday. So it was kind of like my grandfather saying hello to me, you know, and the angels probably helping him to do that.
And if you had a car full of people, and that could be a strength for you, and if you had a car full of people, maybe nobody else there smelt it. I
Right.
remember with us, my father had passed away, and we were in, you know, the family room at the house. All my family was there, and all of a sudden I could smell my father's cologne, like really strong. And I said, does anybody else smell that? And my son, one of my sons said, yeah, I smell it. And nobody else could smell it. They were
Wow.
like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So there again, that's how you also know that the angels are trying to get your attention.
Oh, yeah.
Or your loved one, because not everybody experiences that.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly.
So,
That's, you know, that's a clair that I have occasionally, you know, that it happens occasionally. But I think, and it's also like, even if you're thinking of it, you're not actually smelling it. That's, you know, that's also using that clair too. So,
okay,
so that is the clairs.
Yeah, and everybody has probably at least one that they have as a strength. But we can build all of them. That's the good news. You
Yeah.
can, you know, you'd probably do
Practice.
for some reason, you know.
And you might even have them and not even realize that, you know, it is a way
Right.
of connecting, or that you are, or that, you know, your angels are connecting with you. And I know for me, my first clair was clairsentience, clair feeling, because I did take a survey that we're about to talk about, and that was the clair that was the most prominent at that time. And I think, and yeah, and so.
I think mine was clairaudience.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
Peg and I are talking about a fun, in one of Doreen's books, she has this fun little quiz. It's like a 15-question quiz that you can take. And depending on how you answer, A, B, or C, you know, it tells you which one of the clairs is your strengths and which ones you can work on.
Right.
If you want to take that quiz, we will be happy to send you a copy.
Yes.
You can contact us. And there again, feel free while you're contacting us if you have any comments or topics that you'd like to see covered on a future show. Please contact us at angeltalk411@gmail.com. We'd like to thank you. We've had a great night. I can't believe how these minutes just fly right by.
do
We
fly.
have so much
Definitely.
to share. And so we have so much to share. So on our next show, of course, being February,
Right.
we're going to talk about the romance angels. And of course, you can't talk about romance angels without discussing the cherubs.
Exactly, exactly.
And then there are some archangels that
And
are
who are-
affiliated.
Who are some of the archangels that are?
Archangel Michael,
Okay.
Archangel Shamuel, Archangel Raguel, Archangel Raphael. And so we'll discuss them. We're also, I know there's so many people, you probably meet so many people as well that want to meet their soulmate. But you know what? Sometimes you have to do some work on yourself. So we're going to do a lot of work on self-love, some exercises, you know, some things to think about, self-love, working on ourselves so we're open to receive love from that.
I think a lot of times many people forget about celebrating Valentine's Day for themselves.
Exactly.
You know, it's-
Very important.
Yeah,
Self-love
it
is very important.
It is.
And then we know there are those of you that are saying, yeah, but I'm in a relationship. Well, you know what? We're also going to work on people that they're already in relationships. And you know what? Let's face it. Everybody can use a little rekindling, you know, a little rekindling, a little reconnecting, maybe a little help in communicating. So, you know.
That should be really exciting.
Yes. Peg, this is our third episode. I cannot believe how much we've covered so far. And when I look back, we have so much more to cover.
We do. We really
I don't
do.
know about you. I feel so honored. We've introduced our viewers to the angels, some of the archangels. We've talked about the
Ways.
clairs, ways to be in contact with the angels. We've got to share some of our personal stories.
And also the ways that we connect with them through our senses and through our clairs. And at some point, it would be interesting to talk about some of the tools too, like the angel oracle cards, and also through the pendulum too.
Right. Well, starting next in March, we're going to start having guests. So that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, that will.
You know, so I look forward to that.
Yeah.
And I look forward to bringing, like sharing, like I learned so much alternative things that we don't really hear about in day-to-day life or day-to-day news. And there's so many unbelievable miracles that are occurring every single day. And so I really feel like the angels, timing is everything. And I feel like this is the time for us to share with our viewers so many unbelievable things. They're going to learn, they're going to be, you know, tools for children, tools for adults. You know, it's like, you know, maybe one month we're going to talk about chemicals in food and how people, you know, how they affect people. Well, that's one thing, and that's fine to say, okay, I know there are all these chemicals in my food, but what do I do about it?
Right.
And so then we'll have somebody on that actually gives us solutions. So I guess that's what I'm the most excited about, is that we bring things to the forefront, but then we have people with real solutions.
Yep. Authors and healers and you know, different types of practitioners that we can share with our audience.
Yes.
So I look forward to our next show.
I do too.
In March when we have our guests.
Yes.
So
okay.
thank you.
So we thank you. Good night. Angel blessings.